Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something quite unsettling.
We are. It's Helena Echlin's psychological thriller. Clever little thing.
Exactly. And our source is an extended summary of the novel. So, like always, our mission is to unpack it, pull out the key insights, and give you the fast track on this really gripping story.
It definitely is gripping.
So let's set the scene. You've got Charlotte. She's 8 months pregnant. Life seems, pretty ordinary.
On the surface, yeah?
Her world revolves around her daughter, Stella. Now, Stella's brilliant, incredibly smart for her age.
But also quite socially awkward
Right.
and very emotionally hypersensitive.
Right, those are traits Charlotte actually cherishes about her. But then, things take a really dark turn.
They do. Their babysitter, Blanca, who seems lovely. She leaves abruptly.
And then, tragically, she's found dead not long after.
Yeah, and that's shocking enough, but the unsettling part kicks in almost immediately.
Because Stella, her daughter, starts behaving in ways that are eerily, specifically like Blanca.
It's more than just mimicking grief. It's like mannerisms, tone of
Right.
voice.
It's chilling. And that's really what sets this whole disturbing story in motion. Okay, let's unpack this.
So Charlotte's already dealing with a lot, right? Late pregnancy, exhaustion, anxiety.
Totally. And Stella's unique personality, that mix of high intelligence and extreme sensitivity, means things are already kind of intense.
Managing her day-to-day is already a careful act.
So when Blanca, this kind presence in their lives, suddenly dies,
Hmm.
it's obviously a huge shock, a tragedy.
But the grief, for Charlotte, it doesn't stay just grief for long, does it?
No, it twists very quickly into something alarming, dread almost.
Yeah, what's really compelling, I think, is how fast that sorrow turns into genuine horror. Charlotte isn't just seeing her daughter grieve Blanca.
She's seeing her daughter change.
Fundamentally change, yes. Stella's voice, the way she moves, even like specific food cravings she suddenly has.
They're not Stella's anymore.
They become unmistakably Blanca's. It feels less like imitation and more like, well, a metamorphosis.
Which must be terrifying. It throws Charlotte into this state of high alert.
Absolutely. And it introduces that central question, is this just grief manifesting strangely, or is it something much, much darker?
And the way the novel tells this story, it uses these two timelines running side by side.
Which is a really effective way to build suspense, yeah.
So you had the present or the now timeline, and here Charlotte is actually confined.
Right, in a mental health facility, a nice one, but still confined.
Yeah, stripped of things like shoelaces, sharp objects. It really emphasizes how powerless she feels.
And her husband, Pete, he seems convinced she's had some kind of breakdown.
He thinks she needs psychological help. But Charlotte, she knows. She has this absolute certainty that Stella isn't just upset or acting out.
She knows Stella has fundamentally changed, become someone or something else.
It's a terrifying conviction to hold when everyone else doubts you.
And that dual timeline structure, stepping back, it's so key. It lets us see Charlotte in this broken present.
While slowly revealing what actually happened in the past.
Exactly. The past, or then, timeline shows us the gradual shift. It seems to start after a specific day out at the beach.
And Stella's usual kind of sensory meltdowns,
Yeah.
they stop.
They're replaced by this almost mechanical calm. It's serene, but in a really unsettling way.
And new things appear.
Yeah, she picks up new hobbies, like crochet, which was apparently Blanca's thing. Her speech patterns change subtly.
Even her writing starts to echo Blanca's style.
Wow, it's the slow, creeping progression that hints at, well, like Stella's actual self is being quietly overwritten.
And it's not just about Stella. The book really delves into Charlotte's own headspace, her own history.
Right, her own vulnerabilities play a huge part. She had a difficult past with her own mother.
Emotionally distant, depressive.
Yeah, and there's this deep-seated fear in Charlotte, this anxiety that she's going to repeat those patterns.
Either with Stella or with a new baby on the way. It's like this constant background hum of fear.
And you mentioned Stella's neurodivergence earlier, her curiosity, sensory issues, the emotional intensity.
Things Charlotte used to see as part of what made Stella uniquely brilliant, right? That outsider beautiful quality.
Exactly. But now those very traits feel like they're being stolen, erased, replaced by Blanca's imprint.
So for Charlotte, it's like a double trauma. Her daughter is changing, and it feels like the unique person she loved is just vanishing.
Vanishing into someone else's memory, as you said. And this taps into something really profound about identity, doesn't it? What happens when the core of who someone is feels like it's being erased?
That line, a mother's hand knows when something is wrong. It feels central here.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It's not just presented as vague intuition. It's this deep physical certainty. It grounds the potentially supernatural elements in a very real maternal fear.
The ultimate fear, maybe. Not just losing your child, but losing who they are.
Precisely. Stella's unique brilliance becomes twisted, altered. For Charlotte, it's not just weird behavior. It feels like a fundamental violation, like the theft of her child's very essence.
So, understandably, Charlotte gets desperate for answers. She decides to seek out Blanca's mother, Irina.
Yeah, which must have been an incredibly difficult thing to do.
And their first meeting is, well, tense, guarded, understandably so.
But eventually their shared griefs kind of breaks down those walls a bit, creates connection.
A fragile one, yeah.
Yeah.
And Irina eventually tells Charlotte how Blanca died.
She gives her the official explanation.
Right, an undiagnosed heart condition, an accidental drowning while swimming, clinical, tragic, but explainable.
Designed to offer closure, perhaps. Put Charlotte's mind at rest.
But it doesn't work, does it?
Not for Charlotte. That's what's striking. She hears this perfectly logical medical reason.
And it just doesn't fit with what she's seeing.
Exactly. It rings hollow. For her, Stella's new accent, the way she holds herself, these obsessions, they don't feel like symptoms of anything medical in Stella.
They feel like Blanca.
They feel like the living memory, the imprint of the person who was lost. And the tragic part is, other adults see Stella's new, calm demeanor.
I think it's a good thing. Maturity.
Yeah, maybe she's finally settling down, but Charlotte sees it as erasure. It just isolates her even more.
And as this internal conflict just eats away at her, her outside world starts falling apart too.
Her relationships suffer under the strain.
There's this awful moment with her friend Cherie. Things get heated, and Charlotte actually pushes her.
It's like this desperate act, almost self-defense, but it just collapses into a breakdown. Shows the pressure she's under.
And then she finds Stella's journal.
And it's not just normal kid stuff anymore.
No, there are strange symbols, phrases in a foreign language, things that just don't belong to Stella.
Which only fuels Charlotte's conviction, makes her feel even more certain, and probably more terrified.
It all builds to this point of utter desperation.
Yeah, connecting this to the bigger picture, her actions become more extreme. She performs this kind of ritual.
By a duck pond.
Yeah, begging Blanca for forgiveness, pleading for her daughter back. It's this raw, desperate act.
Holding on to that last sliver of hope, maybe, willing to try anything.
Absolutely. It shows a mother at the absolute edge.
But then, the story takes another, even darker turn with Irina.
Irina makes this devastating confession, doesn't she?
Yeah. She reveals that she suspected Blanca was sexually violated.
But Blanca never had the chance, or maybe the words, to accuse the person responsible, a silenced victim.
And then, in one of the most chilling moments, Stella speaks.
But it's not Stella's voice, is it?
No. Channeling Blanca's way of speaking, her mannerisms, Stella starts saying the things Blanca never could.
Uttering the truth about the violation.
Wow. The supernatural, or whatever it is, becomes this conduit for revealing a very real, very ugly crime.
And that's what's so clever, I think. The paranormal isn't just spooky. It becomes this horrifying mirror reflecting a hidden reality.
So now Charlotte has this impossible knowledge, and she has to confront her husband, Pete.
Yeah, that supernatural whisper, as the summary calls it, it's no longer just a mother's fear. It becomes this terrible accusation.
An accusation that could completely shatter their family.
Because the hidden trauma is forcing its way out through Stella.
This leads them to mediation, right? A formal setting.
Yes, and Charlotte just lays it all out, her terrifying, unbelievable reality.
And even though a court can't exactly accept, my daughter is channeling a ghost, as evidence.
Right, but the implication, the threat of this becoming public, the questions it would raise about Pete.
It's enough. He's forced to agree to Charlotte's terms, likely related to custody and keeping Stella safe.
But he doesn't give up easily. He makes one last, really cruel attempt.
Tries to take Stella away, like leave the country.
Tries to remove her from Charlotte's life entirely. It's desperate.
But Charlotte finds out, and she races to the airport.
With Irina alongside her. They intercept him.
And that's the climax, isn't it? The final confrontation.
It is. And in that moment, Stella speaks Armenian.
Blanca's native language, which Stella wouldn't know.
Exactly. It's the final, undeniable confirmation of everything Charlotte has feared and believed. The painful truth is out.
It validates Charlotte's intuition, her fight, in the most undeniable way.
And it shows how that unacknowledged trauma found its own way to demand justice, didn't it? Manifesting through Stella.
So after all that trauma and confrontation, what happens? Where do they go from there?
Well, there's a retreat. Charlotte, Stella, the new baby, and Irina too.
They go to a seaside cottage, somewhere quiet.
Yeah, a space away from everything. For healing, maybe? Or at least attempting to heal. Reforming some kind of family unit.
And they have this ritual together, scattering Blanca's ashes.
Which feels really significant. It's closure, release, but also remembrance.
A way to acknowledge Blanca, the real person,
Yeah.
and maybe build a bridge towards some kind of peace.
A fragile piece, certainly. And connecting that to the bigger picture, the ending really emphasizes those blurry lines between reality, trauma, the influence of the past, the unseen.
Does Stella go back to being just Stella?
She starts to, yeah. Her own quirky brilliance begins to resurface. But the book is clear. Traces of Blanca remain.
Like little echoes.
Exactly. Subtle reminders that something profound happened, that maybe some boundaries, once crossed, can't be fully restored. It's not a neat Hollywood ending.
It acknowledges the scars.
It does. It suggests that the imprint left by Blanca, by the trauma, is lasting.
And Charlotte, how does she reconcile all this?
She makes this incredibly powerful choice, really. She chooses to accept the uncertainty.
Rather than needing a definitive explanation for everything.
Right. She embraces the idea that sometimes love means accepting what you can't fully understand or explain away. It's a profound take on motherhood and acceptance.
Wow. Okay, so this deep dive into Clever Little Thing, it's been intense. We've touched on motherhood, identity, trauma.
And that really unsettling connection between what we see and what might lie beneath the surface, the seen and the unseen.
It definitely makes you question the edges of reality, the power of belief, a mother's conviction.
And I think what the story really leaves you with is this idea that some experiences, some imprints, they fundamentally change you. They blur the lines of who you are and maybe who you can become.
Permanently, perhaps.
Perhaps it suggests those boundaries might be more porous than we think.
So a final thought for you listening. After exploring this story, what does it suggest about the power of truths that go unspoken? Where do you draw the line between intuition, especially a parent's intuition, and things that seem completely inexplicable?
Yeah, think about what it means for how we understand grief, how justice sometimes finds a voice, and that incredibly deep, often mysterious bond between a parent and child.